still more seats up front if anyone else is.
Does anybody need a recitation prayer?
Good evening, everyone. Everyone here knows who I am, I think, but in case there's anybody streaming who has just dropped in, I'm Bill Spangle, and you're at KCC. Even though you might not think that's where you are. I wanted to share just one or two thoughts before we start practice. And the thing that came to my mind was the aspiration that we might have to have some sense of continuity between our formal practice of meditation and our daily life. We might be tempted to turn this into kind of a complicated manifesto. Of exactly how that might look and what that might be. Because we do hear that, we can read that if we persist in our practice, that at some point in time there is no real distinction between formal meditation and time between sessions. But I think it's safe to say that I can't speak for anyone else, but I think I probably have company in some sense that there is a distinction. And it's useful at the beginning to cultivate this notion that actually we will take a break from our ordinary doings and thinkings and let go of that motivation and momentum and allow our minds to settle in a way that is not usually possible. To allow our awareness to encompass our experience in ways that's not usually possible. But even as beginners, I think it's useful to think of how we can approach our formal practice in ways that will allow us to open towards more of an integration. One of the things that I read a few weeks back, just talking about how we hold our gaze during meditation. And we will often say that it's fine to have your eyes either open or closed during meditation. And there's some great practicality in that as a kind of as an interim strategy. But we do have a bias towards practicing with our eyes open. And what I read, the statement was rather to the point. If we only practice with our eyes closed, then it's very difficult for us to carry into our day-to-day life some sense of the practice. Because we generally have our eyes open as we meet the world and we engage in our activities and engage with others. And I don't want to think anyone who feels like they wish to rely on closing their eyes. I don't want to have anyone feel like, oh, I'm doing it wrong. But perhaps we could also investigate how it might be that we could relax our sense of there being a right way that meditation goes when my eyes are closed, and a not so right way that it goes when my eyes are open. So sometimes practicing with your eyes open I think is good. And then when we approach it in this way, we can also cultivate a sense of relaxation, a sense of peacefulness, a sense of equanimity towards how our practice unfolds. You know, it's not going to be identical. But there's a kind of simplicity in this one example. And I think we can carry this principle into other aspects of our practice. this principle of just relating directly to our experience. When my eyes are open, there is a field of vision. There are appearances. When I sit, there is the sensation of just sitting. Sounds arise. And so on. There's a kind of simplicity of just being with these experiences. And being able to relax in this can have some carryover. Like the smell of a tasty dinner that lingers after the cooking is done. So, just a few words to encourage an outlook of simplicity, gentleness, vibrancy, immediacy, all in that space of kind of a relaxed meeting with whatever arises. So turning our minds to our practice, turning our minds to refuge, feeling all space as though we can touch all beings with the wish, the intention that they be free of all suffering. We recite our refuge and bodhicitta prayer.
Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness. Until the summit of enlightenment is reached, I and all beings go for refuge to the sources of true refuge. I will now practice the absorption of calm abiding in order to release all beings from their particular suffering and establish them in lasting peace and happiness.
to launch our practice in the spirit of simplicity, we need to just meet our experience as it arises. Perhaps a bit like with an old-fashioned camera where you turn the lens to bring things into focus. Not creating anything, but just becoming clearly aware of what's arising. Perhaps you're drawn to just use the experience of the breath coming and going. Whether you settle your mind on one particular aspect of experience, like the breath, or more open awareness, the principle of simplicity can still be there. When we discover that the habit of wandering is taken over, we notice that with complete simplicity. And in the noticing, we can simply relax and return to the aspect of our stream of experience we're attending to. And relax in the immediacy of that experience.
By this virtue may I quickly realize Mahamudra and establish all beings without exception in this state.
Few reminders before we have our tea. The big one is to remember to save the date. It's about Kepalodrodonia Rinpoche's visit. He will arrive on the 26th, Monday the 26th of June, mere hours after all the work is done at our new center, or at least mere hours after
Most of it.
all the work that we can do gets done before he gets here. And on Tuesday morning, we're hoping that we can have a formal welcome with him at the new center, and whatever other blessings or things that he might find will fit into that before he goes off for a day of teaching at the land, and then coming back. And then on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, there will be more formal teachings at our new center, with the Friday evening being something that's more widely open, sort of something that anybody could parachute into. This is what we're looking for. And then 2 days of teachings over the weekend to encourage us to deepen our practice. Do you have more things to add? One thing that, how many people have met Khenpo Rinpoche? Just a few people. In terms of kind of from the resume perspective on who he is the principal student of Boka Rinpoche, who was in turn the principal student of Kalma Rinpoche, who founded the center. So he's really the person that we he's kind of the center of gravity for our connection to the lineage.
Lineage holder?
I don't know whether he would call himself a lineage holder or not, but what's that?
Sure.
But I would certainly say that he functions in that way. But I would invite, what kinds of, what observations would anybody who's met him have to share with those who have not? because I feel like I could just be the one who'd say, well, he's really great. And there I would be, just incarnating somebody from Madison Avenue or wherever they do advertisements.
Joyous comes to mind.
Joyous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a bundle of energy, enthusiasm, and erudition. I mean, he's very kind of a, I don't know, a natural teacher. He's got a lot of just at his fingertips to share, including stories that he tells with great gesticulation.
Animation.
Yeah.
Animated.
Yeah, animated.
Yeah.
I would say he's one of those people that you kind of, not intellectually, but just like emotionally or like somehow on an intuitive level, you just have this feeling like, oh, he knows, he's the real deal. Just,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, he came to our 1 year retreat. I can't remember exactly where in the retreat that was, but after we'd been there a while. After he taught
November.
Mahamudra seminar,
been around.
so it would have been November.
Thanksgiving.
Yeah, and it was just what everyone says. He was just so delightful and so happy in the most genuine way, and I have a really vivid memory of the 4 monks that were with him standing along a rail and chanting very loudly while Rinpoche went to each of our cabins, and we were told just stand by your cabin with your door open, and came by and he just threw all kinds of colored rice into our cabins and blessed each cabin. And he was just so, it was very potent. He was just, I mean, what Marcy says, this energy vibrating, you know.
So he was here 2 years ago.
2013.
Okay, I didn't have that impression that you had, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, mostly we've often seen him in India.
Okay, that's
You know,
right.
we actually were able to, get him
Yeah, he led a
here.
Mahamudra
And we had a
retreat.
whole Mahamudra seminar, and then.
And then he went to
teachings.
the land where some of us were.
No, I saw him here in the lecture.
Ah, cool.
That's right. Forgot about that.
So please come and connect with him. You'll be delighted.
Yeah, it's a rare opportunity, so consider that. And well, Michael's teaching.
May 13th,
May 13th.
Saturday. Lama Michael will teach a half a day on the first part of the 7-point mind training. So the pith instructions on ultimate truth and relative truth. And you can read about it online. He's especially encouraging people who are engaged in the mind training in a really, engaged way.
There's some prerequisites for that. I don't know
Yeah.
what they are.
They're not clear yet,
Yeah,
but
I-
read them online and
Yeah.
you'll see.
But it's it's not so much to put hurdles in the way, but more to create a situation where people can go deeper. So that you won't need to start just at the very beginning and just unfold only what can be unfolded from that point. So it's important to have have enough people with enough momentum in the practice for that kind of circumstance to open up.
And if you've been engaged with the mind training group any time over the years, it's had many rebirths and incarnations, then please come. I think you probably will have enough grounding. And then Sally and Jeff Allward continue to lead the class each Tuesday evening, care and feeding of your practice. And people who are going are really impressed. They're really getting a boost to their practice. It's really getting people to their home altars and cushions and really supporting them. So I think they've done 2, and then there are 3 more to go. So you can come on Tuesday nights at 7.
Say anything about the new urban center, the work going on, and
It's
volunteers.
finally true what we've been telling ourselves for a month now, that we're almost done with demolition. It's finally actually true because we're putting things back in with plumbing and electrical and insulation, and we had a delightful Thursday with there were 8 people from Women in the Trades, some young women who are getting started in on the ramp up to being union carpenters. So they were delightful people to have, and did some good work, and will be with us on Thursdays for a number of weeks in the future. So things are hopping. And
we can use money.
yes, time and money.
And this week, any special volunteers?
This week is a little bit up in the air with the number of subcontractors that we have on site. So, but if you're interested in helping out, please talk to me.
Are you gonna be there tomorrow morning?
I am. Yeah. So will the people spraying insulation. So.
It'll be stinky.
Yeah.
Not a good time to go.
Yeah. Yeah. So. Tea time.
Keep it simple.
Yeah.
I like that.
Oh, that,
I think it-
yeah, this one.